Peace family, peace family. Chef Joseph the Entrepreneur back at you again with another video. Chef Joseph the Entrepreneur back at you again with another video. Like and subscribe to the channel. Okay fam, we're going to talk about protecting your work. Protecting your work. You know, whatever work there may be, literary work, which is an author, authorship, things like that. You want to make sure that your work is protected before you send it out into the world or into other people's hands that, where it can be compromised. That's real talk. And so I know for me, I finished my third book. I'm actually a three-time author. And it's wow, amazing. Never thought I would ever do it. But anyway, but a three-time author, you know what I'm saying? I have a coloring book and I have a market ready guide, and I just finished the Chef Joseph's autobiography. It's talking about my whole story, which is my magnum opus that I'm giving back to the world. And you all can do the same thing. A lot of you have stories that you need to share, that you want to share, but for some reason, you just are not putting your story out there. People need to hear what you have to say. You know, you've come a long way in your life. Some of you have had, many different experiences, that you want the world to see or to read about. One of my, I think one of the things that drives me is that when you come to realize that you are put here on the planet to do something special, and it's your job to find out what that special thing is. You weren't just put here just to, work, go to church, come home, eat, sleep, work, go home, go to church, eat, sleep, go to the bowling alley. Yeah, you could do those things, but what about your work? What is your great work? And then once you find that great work, how are you going to protect it? You have to be able to protect your work so no one takes advantage of you. No one, steals your work. I know that my last autobiography here, it was completed roughly in January-ish, somewhere around January-ish is what I'm saying, and it's still not completed, to my satisfaction. But it's on track to complete, but what happened was I had built everything and relied on, two key people to make sure the book was edited. And when I got it back from the first person, it was not edited correctly. You know, she was supposed to be a book editor and a school teacher, but in the depth in the subject of the matter of my Civil War book, which is my second great grandfather was a chef in the Civil War, and I'm just here to tell his story, and it was like, I guess she felt a certain type of way. I don't know. It was just like, I haven't talked to her since. And she got paid. See what I'm saying? And then the second gentleman or guy or man who put his hands on my autobiography, basically, he didn't deliver. You know, he said he would have the book for 2 whole months. And when I got it back, some things were changed. It wasn't even edited. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, why did you keep my manuscript this long and it's still not to my satisfaction? Punctuations were still off. It was a lot. And then on top of that, I had orders coming in. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, but it was not cool at all. So that's when I had to jump back in and take everything off my plate and jump back in on my own manuscript to make sure everything is actually complete, to my satisfaction. I know I've been diving in. I think the team and we had got into that. We had dove in, probably like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of chapters. I mean, we're up to from chapter 1, the dedication, up to chapter 19, basically. And this is actually my works here. This is actually, the manuscript for He Came During the Civil War. This is my autobiography, that talks about a lot of these things. I don't know if you can see a lot of that. But anyway, so it's all in there. There you go. Yeah, so I'm going through this thing line by line, things that he should have caught, and he didn't even catch them. See what I'm saying? So, but the good thing is we're on chapter 19. You know what I'm saying? So I'm planning to have this done in about 6 days. I'm thinking, just barreling down to do one chapter a day. It takes a lot to write a autobiography or a book. Period. It takes a lot. You know what I'm saying? You basically, it takes a lot to write your book. Like I said, it took me 2 years to do it. And then you're digging back into your past memories, of the things that you experienced. That's not an easy task for some, because it definitely brings up a lot of things that you thought you had buried, but for the most part, your work has to be completed and you have to make sure you protect it. But overall, I'm proud of my work. It's definitely, in my opinion, a masterpiece. I have bigger things planned for this as well. That's definitely for you all to see very, very soon in the near future. So, but the first thing you want to do is once you get your work complete, you definitely want to copyright it. You definitely want to copyright this work to make sure it's legally protected. And get your copyright certificate and all that stuff. That way, if anyone tries to steal your work or whatever, at least you have a certificate that you can prove that this literary work belongs to you. The next thing is you always want to make sure that whoever you pass your work to, make sure they sign a non-disclosure agreement, or you can call it an NDA for short, NDA, non-disclosure agreement, because that way it guarantees, or it should guarantee, or it's supposed to guarantee that they're not supposed to share your story with anyone or anyone without your consent. So that is on the legal front of a couple of things that you can do to protect yourself from the very beginning, legally that is. But for some of you all have stories, you need to get down with it, pull that pen and pad out and start writing. You know, and so yeah, you'd be surprised what how it may turn out. But anyway, I'm glad y'all could tune in, like and subscribe to the channel. This is actually my third time shooting this video because I think I didn't have enough. I don't know, something was happening with the camera. So, but anyway, the video was a little bit longer, but it's a little bit shorter now because this is actually my third attempt, and I definitely have things to do. But I'm glad y'all could tune in to this. The title of the video is to make sure that you protect your work. Protect your works. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want anyone to take your idea. And there's a lot of wolves out here, as you do know, as we all know. So like and subscribe to the channel. Hope you all having a good day. Wish you the best in your entrepreneur journey. Chef Joseph, the entrepreneur, back at you again with another video. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. I think that's about it. Just make sure that you protect your literary work, okay? So that way, your story stays with you as much as possible. So anyway, have a good day. All right, I'm out.